Today is a special soda pop chat, so welcome. And I'm drinking a little café cubano. And why? Because today is going to be a special episode, and I'm going to be talking about Cuban and Cuban American artists and items that have basically made an impact in pop culture. So I'm going to tell you my favorites. I'm sure if my Cuban American friends are watching right now, they're going to have their own favorites, and I encourage you to let me know yours in the comments. So I'm going to start easing into this with a game. Now everyone has to know what this is. These are dominoes, and this is actually really fun to play if you're at a party with friends, especially if you have Cuban American friends, because they really get into playing dominoes. So definitely recommend this. Next, if you are at a party, you're definitely gonna want some rum, and of course you want Bacardi. Now I know my Puerto Rican friends are gonna go, but that's ours. We had the Bacardis first, and if you want to read more about the Bacardis, I'm going to recommend this book. It's really great. I read it many years ago. This one is Bacardi, The Long Fight for Cuba. So it's a very good book, and it gives you a little history of the Bacardis and what happened in Cuba, and definitely read it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I don't know if anyone else has read it. If so, let me know your thoughts on this book, and we're gonna move on. Now we're gonna move on to the great stuff, and that's going to be music. Now this next category, I feel like will get a lot of feedback, a lot of discussion, a lot of opinions, and it's hard to limit it, but I'm going to try my best. I'm going to give you 3 of my favorites currently in Cuban American Cuban music. But let's start this list with my top artist, and that would be Celia Cruz. I've done a couple of videos on here before about her, but she does have tremendous music, and she's highly respected. I was actually at a little cafe yesterday called Cortaditos, and they have several locations throughout New Jersey, but I went to one in Union City, and while I was there, they had this nice little mural of Celia Cruz there, and it just showed how highly respected she was in that community. She lived there, she interacted with people, and her music was great. So that's why she's at the top. Now the next artist is well known as well, and her, along with her husband, have created quite an empire and their own little sound. And that would be Gloria Estefan and her husband Emilio. Now, Gloria has come out with various albums. One great album is this one right here, Materva. But I have several different CDs of hers. I grew up with her. That was probably one of the first Cuban American artists I really looked up to. So that's why she's number 2 on my list. Number 3 is more of a fun party person. I like how he samples music. It's just a fun vibe. Whenever you hear his music, you just turn it up and you either are driving or you feel like dancing, and that is Pitbull. So that's why he's number 3 on my list. Again, I know there's a ton of other artists, so I want to hear who you love. Now the next category here is going to be, I think we're gonna go with TV. And you cannot think about TV without thinking of I Love Lucy. Now Lucille Ball was important, but just as important was her then husband Desi Arnaz. And without him, we probably wouldn't have the modern sitcom. And he also was the first time we really saw a Latino on TV, married to an American woman, having a normal marriage. He was a band leader. He would play his Cuban music on TV. So a lot of Americans were introduced to our culture thanks to Desi Arnaz. So that's why he is on this list. And I still like watching I Love Lucy. I think it's a timeless show, so I'd like to thank both Lucy and Desi for giving us that sitcom. Now the next one is also a series, and this used to be actually aired on PBS stations throughout the country, but it started out in the PBS in Miami. And I don't know if it's still streaming. You can, I mean, I know you could have streamed it. Sometimes you can see some of the episodes online. And if you get a chance to, I highly recommend this show. It's called Que Pasa USA. It is actually a bilingual show. So basically, this is about a multi-generational family. You have the children who were born here in the US. So they're very American in their ways with a little bit of that Cuban influence. You have the parents who are in the middle. You have the mother who adapts better than the father. The father, in his ways, he still is very Cuban. And then you have the grandparents who mostly speak Spanish. Occasionally they might try to say something in English, which actually sounds pretty funny half the time, but it is a great show. It showed what a Cuban American family looked like in different ages, and I highly recommend it. So watch this show, you won't regret it, and you might learn some Spanish. So check it out. On the internet and social media, there is an influencer who actually does little webisodes, and I believe the webisodes are called Abuela's Family, but you can check out her YouTube channel and her social media accounts. Her name is Jenny Lorenzo, and the Abuela character is actually based on her late grandmother, and occasionally she will do little things that any Cuban American will relate to, and know certain people in the family that are like that. She usually takes on various characters in this family, and she also has some supporting actors in there, but she mostly is the one in these skits. So if you get a chance, check her little webisodes. They're pretty funny, and if not, she also does little skits every now and then. So finally, my last category is going to be about movies and actors. So I'm going to start with Andy Garcia, who I think is one of the best actors. Not just Cuban American actors, just actors in general. I once did meet him in person. I worked at a building where he was getting interviewed, and unfortunately I got so starstruck I couldn't talk to him, and I was kind of embarrassed almost, but he was a complete and utter gentleman. So if I ever get a chance to meet Andy Garcia again, I would like to thank him for all his contributions to cinema, and that's my note on that. Telenovelas, of course, you have William Levy. He's done other stuff afterwards. He even crossed over here, with movies and TV shows, but I still have a fondness of those telenovelas that he was in. And I did see him at Comic-Con once, so that was pretty cool. Okay, so that's my little Cuban American tribute here. What do you think of some of the things I mentioned? Is there something you would have liked me to talk about in this segment that I didn't? Again, let me know your comments. Thank you for watching, and until next time.